Welcome back to the morning show here on Polarized News. Before we go to our conversation with Senator Shehu Sani, we are going to take some time to review headlines from today's newspapers. And as always, we begin with...
This day?
Yes.
On Saturday,
yes.
Adefemi, thanks. All right, the lead story here says, Okowa Nigeria now badly fractured, too polarized to have an untried president in 2023. And I think that what is saying here is good to read it out, you know, the quote. There are loads of problems, and if we do not elect the right person, we'll find ourselves with somebody who is going to get to the seat and become confused because the problems will overwhelm him. He will not even know how to start. I mean, this is an interesting thing from the Delta State, you know, governor. Being a governor himself, a lot of people will wonder that, are you saying that the only person that is prepared for this job is Atiku Abubakar? You know, and opposition people are saying that the only thing that he has done in government is playing a second fiddle. He's been number 2 to a president, that the buck never stopped at any point in time, you know, exactly. Whereas Peter Obi, who had been governor for 8 years,
yes,
and Ashwaji Bola Tinubu, governor 8 years, had been a senator, that they are possibly better prepared because they called the shots. You know, they signed off on things. There's no record of Atiku Abubakar at any point in time formally acting as president while President Obasanjo was out of the country. So, you know, that's the argument, essentially, for example, between Festus Keyamo, who's speaking for Ashwaji Bola Tinubu of APC, and Dino Melai, you know, of the PDP. We will have more of these as we proceed into February, you know, 2023. But then to say that who's better prepared, I think it's the voter that would decide, you know, who's better.
At the end of the day, the ballots will tell us
who's better prepared. Because if it's about just being a vice president, maybe Professor Yemi Osinbajo will have been the candidate of the APC, you know, by now. But then we know what has happened. Interesting days.
PDP would say that exactly. Very interesting days ahead.
All right. On top of that, security agencies, nation's resources overstretched by terrorism, laments Buhari. Well, that's the president speaking at the State House yesterday during the launch of the National Crisis Management Doctrine. But, you know, my point is I do not know what to make of this type of lamentation. You know, why should the president be lamenting? Fix the rot. That's why you were elected. So if you're saying that insecurity has gotten worse under your watch, I mean, am I supposed to applaud that, for example? You know, how are you dealing with it? You've got barely, how many months more? 8, you know, or 9 months to go. How will you deal with it? The reason why you were elected is because you were a general. And campaigns to Nigerians were that when America was challenged, they brought in General Eisenhower. When Britain was challenged, they brought in the general. When France was challenged, they brought in a de Gaulle. And the reason why you were brought in is to fix that thing, you know. But all the promises, it looks like we're reneging on them.
And it's so sad because I always like to talk about legacy. And, you know, legacy is not something you can touch. It's not something you hold in your house or hang up somewhere. You can take photographs of your time as president, but really your real legacy, especially as a president or a prime minister or a leader of a country, is how you've improved the lives of the people you were sworn to protect.
That's your job.
And it just feels as though the level of self-reflection just isn't high enough. There's no shame, as it were, that goodness gracious, you people trusted me with your futures twice.
Yes, twice.
And this is all I have to say to you.
Isn't it similar to what you said about, you know, Governor Rufai of Kaduna State, to say that you are sounding like an ordinary citizen? You know, so I mean, I strike that argument, you know, to what the president is saying. You're lamenting like I would lament, like people on the street would lament. No, but that we were not elected to fix. You were elected to fix it. Stop lamenting.
Yeah, that's the point. What are your complaints going to do?
So who will fix it then?
And also, it's difficult. It's also difficult because while you don't want to misinform the public, and there's a duty to tell them and give them valid and truthful information, it also I would think lights a match under the seat of people who are terrorists or insurgents.
Yeah.
That like, wow, the government are really weakening.
Yeah.
They're really confessing that they can't win this war against us.
Yeah.
And that's only going to galvanize them
approach
further.
ideally ought to be like a SWOT analysis kind of approach.
Yeah.
Don't just tell us about your weaknesses,
Yeah.
you know, and the threats, because we can see them.
Yes.
What we can't see, which you ought to demonstrate to the citizen, are the opportunities that are there and the strengths, because you call the shots.
Absolutely.
If it's about, you know, threats and lamentations, you know, oil theft, everything,
Yes.
you know, Naira devaluation, I mean, it's sounding like somebody else ought to be doing the job, you know.
Somebody else will be doing the job.
But in 9 months' time,
In 9 months' time.
can we wait?
Oh.
All right, on top of the masthead, Femi, presidency, federal government freed wife, children of trained terror leaders without result. This is a very important story on page 5, you know, of today's day, and I see that, you know, practically all the papers carried it, because this sort of thinking, this sort of revelation from the presidency, you know, is Garbashil, the SSA to the president, on media and publicity that made that revelation, you know, is an interesting way to look at what is happening. Because what my understanding of what Garbashil is saying here is that the terrorists outsmarted the Nigerian government. You freed the demand of the, you were able to identify the leader of the terrorists, you know, who led the operations against the train where people were kidnapped.
Yes.
But then you said that one of the demands made by the leader of the terrorists was that free my wife. And you did. The wife was pregnant. You took her to the hospital, delivered a twin. You protected her, and then you thought that he will free. Then he made other demand. He said, "Oh, we've got 11 people, you know, somewhere. Free them." They flew them from Adamawa, you know, again, and then they thought that was over. Nigerian government, they thought that was over, and then they said, "We need more money." I don't know if this is self-indicting or if this is just a comedy show. But then this is coming from the presidency of the Federation, saying that this is how terrorists outplayed us.
Yes.
Paid money, released the leader's wife, released 11 people, and yet they still went to Kuje, you know, and released 69 people. What did Nigerian government get in return? 31 people are still there in custody.
This is the thing.
Isn't
when
it
you
shameful?
negotiate, it's a difficult one, because had the government played hardball, perhaps citizens would be saying, well, give them what they want, see if they'll make good on their promises.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to negotiate with somebody, again, who doesn't see value in your cards.
That's the thing.
If we're negotiating, I have to have what you want.
Absolutely.
I have to want what you have.
What you have.
And if I don't, I'm just going to play you like a fiddle. And you'll give me what I want without me sweating at all. And it's such a shame.
I'm not
because
even sure that it
lives.
is, you know, this sort of information should be coming, you know, from spokespersons. These are security issues. You know, we have the National Security Advisors.
Yep.
Are you being outplayed? Are we sure that you won't be outplayed more? What will they need to do to get the 31 more people, you know, there released? Well, Femi, let's go to the next paper, because this is so distressing.
It is quite distressing. If we move on to The Guardian on Saturday, their picture headline story is so colourful, and we actually made reference to the Osun Osogbo Festival last week when we were watching the Ojude documentary. And so what we're seeing here is you have to, and I've heard of Aruba before, and is it like the dedicated person who, what is the actual?
An Aruba has to be selected every year.
Okay.
You know, I'm not sure if an Aruba has had to do it more than once because of the requirements. She will have to be prepared, you know, for it. And I think part of the requirement, you know, is that, you know, she will not have known any man,
yes.
You know, and that's part of the requirement. I don't know if it's possible to, you know, keep her chased for maybe 2 years, maybe an Aruba can, you know, return the following year.
Right.
But that's one of the requirements. And I think it was Tunde Kelani it was that made a film,
yes.
you know, on Aruba, you know, at that time, which really exposed
as well.
It was Aruba,
yes,
which exposed the beauty, you know, of that age-long tradition in Osun State, you know, Osun Osogbo River and all that. It's always very colorful.
Yes,
you know, one of the biggest in West Africa as far as traditional festivals are concerned. But I read a few things about, you know, the government urging people not to drink the water of the Osun rivers because of people's attachment to it, you know, that it has healing powers and everything. But guess what? They didn't listen to government.
They don't. People do what they want to do.
It's like River Jordan. When you go there, people take, you know, come back with the water.
Did you see also there was a politician in India who drank water from a river? I don't know if it was the river Ganges, just to prove that it was healthy, and then he was hospitalized thereafter.
He was after.
So if you don't want to hear it, you'll feel it eventually. Unfortunately, that's all we've got on newspapers. Do you want to take something very quickly from the Punch?
Well, I mean, this is about the 2023 crisis. Yes. Crisis threatened ruling parties in Ogo, Sokoto, Delta, others. I mean, we know about that. You know, it goes both ways, actually. You know, PDP and APC.